Good afternoon, everyone. We're so glad to see you. I hope you've had your food, and we'll get started right away. I'm Carol Kurth. I'm co-chair of the Farmington Hills Beautification Commission, and I want to welcome you all to the 31st awards ceremony. Thank you for coming to help us recognize beautification efforts in our community. Our purpose is stated in your program, so I won't repeat it. The commission members are also listed in your program, and they're all community enthusiasts. Please help me recognize them. They will stand as I call their name. Abe Ann, Elsie McEwen, over here, Betty Poole, Carol Posby, Catherine Massey, Rita Roberts, where'd she go? Jeff Stewart. And I'd like to also welcome fellow beautification enthusiasts from the city of Farmington. We have Larry Kilner, where'd he go? Over here, who is the chair of the Farmington Beautification Committee, and Pam Wright. So, did I miss anyone? Valerie Knoll is our city council liaison and attends our meetings regularly. To recap, the commission reaches out to the community gardeners through our spring and fall plant program, plant swap program, held each year at Heritage Park. We are pleased that we have our Tree City designation continuing through the Arbor Day Foundation, going on 8 years now. Last April, we held the 4th Community Litter Walk and Cleanup Day with over 17 subdivisions and 200 people participating to help us promote litter control. This project ties in with Earth Day, National Arbor Day, and Keep Michigan Beautiful statewide cleanup programs. In June, the commission sponsored the annual flower planting at Costick Center Courtyard with 35 students from Beachview Elementary, a project to help them learn about gardening and community volunteering. The Beautification Commission is a member of the statewide organization Keep Michigan Beautiful. It's also a charter member of the Regional Beautification Council of Southeastern Michigan. We attend quarterly meetings in other communities to learn about their beautification and community project. And I'd like to recognize Pat Deck, who is here with us tonight. She is the president of what we call fondly BCSEM. Serving on the Beautification Commission is very fulfilling, and we all are always open to new members. So if that interests you and you are a resident of Farmington Hills, you're welcome to come and join us at our meetings once a month on the 3rd Tuesday at City Hall at 7 p.m. So you can let our liaison, what's your name? Charmaine, know, and she will give you more information. Moving along to our program, I would like now to introduce our Farmington Hills City Manager, Mr. Dave Boyer.
Charmaine, can you stand up for a minute? Charmaine is our liaison and does a lot of work, so I wanted to thank Charmaine for all of her work. Thank you. Well, I'd first like to start and say thank you to the Beautification Commission and all the work that you do throughout the year, and thank you again for hosting this event. and really thank you all for being here tonight and what you do and the efforts you put into beautifying our community. It is, I was just sitting there talking with the folks from the Finish Center, and it is so nice to drive around this community and see the efforts you put into your properties, your residents, or your businesses. So thank you very much. And I look forward to the presentation tonight, and it's my honor to introduce our mayor, Ken Massey.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 31st Annual Beautification Awards Ceremony. Tonight, it gives us an opportunity to thank our Beautification Commission and our corporate and residential residents who put a lot of time and effort into making our community what it is. For more than 31 years, the Beautification Commission has performed the important role of advising the city of Farmington Hills on how we can go about creating beautiful and sustainable living environments. And tonight, we're here to honor the efforts of those that have helped to make that occur and make our community a much more beautiful place. Recognition goes out to our businesses, organizations, subdivisions, condo and apartment entrance, planters, the places of worship, and many other portions of our community that are beautified because of the efforts that have been stimulated by the Beautification Commission. The city of Farmington Hills is a place where people are proud to live, and that pride shows. It shows when you enter a subdivision. It shows when you enter a business area, one of our larger businesses or smaller combinations of strip malls. It makes us proud to call this place home. And I have to say, after being elected mayor, I have the opportunity to travel to a large number of our cities in our area. We also represent the community at national meetings and at state and other state meetings. And I kind of pay attention to what's going on around me and what's going on around in other cities. And I have to say, it's always a pleasure to come back to our community because both our businesses and our residents put time and effort into this. There have been, I've gone to a couple of communities that when you look at things like their lack of ordinances on signage, sometimes ours are a little too restrictive, if you ask some of our business residents. But if you look at some areas, it appears they just allow anything. And it starts to really cheapen the way a community looks. And the efforts of the Beautification Commission, when you put those together with what our Planning Commission has done for us and what city councils in the past have done, our city can hold its head up high. Our residents should be proud of how great our community looks. And just traveling around other southeastern Michigan communities, you don't always see that. That also keeps our property values high. So it's not just an investment in aesthetics, it's also an investment in yourselves, our communities, and the buildings that we have. Many of the winners that we have tonight deserve special recognition. You'll see an asterisk in the program for those winners who are winning their Continued Excellence Award. These have received awards for more than 10 years. We want to acknowledge and commend those that have made beautification on their property a long-term commitment. This is very important. Mrs. Kurth mentioned that Councilwoman Knoll is the council liaison. In addition to the city manager here, you will see a number of city staff. Mr. Lerner, one of our members of City Council, is also here this evening. We take this seriously. We want our community to be beautiful. So, to move on, our special guest speaker this evening is Jan Bills. Jan is a certified landscape designer, advanced master gardener, and author. She will be speaking about the importance of putting the right plant in the right place to create a sustainable garden. These practices are useful in every phase of gardening, including design, planning, and maintenance. And I am particularly interested in that. My wife often does all of the beautification around our homestead. And this summer, or spring, she actually had to have some surgery that prevented her from doing that. So I had to take it over, and I need to know what plants to put in the right place, or in my case, it was which ones not to pull out and kill, because I did a great job at that. And next year, everything will look better around our household. So our city is known for this high quality of life. We really appreciate the efforts of the Beautification Commission. I want to thank them again for putting this program on, and thank all of you for participating, and look forward to a great evening. So Mrs. Bills will come on up, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me. When we walked in, my friend Lily's with me tonight. I said, this is absolutely beautiful that the city does this. So very well done. We were very impressed. And I'm excited because not only do I garden as my profession, but I garden at home. I love it, and I love even more talking about it. So I only have 20 minutes, and I'm going to go quickly and download a lot of good information for you. So you'll go ahead and click for me. Okay, so we're going to talk about right plant, right place, and how that really equates into sustainable gardening. So would you all agree, if you're a gardener, that if you woke up in the morning and something didn't hurt, you would think you were dead? So that's one of the great things about gardening, and the thing that we love to do. So when we talk about sustainable gardening, because there's so many different definitions for it. So for us, we like to define sustainable gardening as comfort, ease, and simplicity. And really, not only sustainable in the garden, but being able to sustain the gardener. So when we talk about right plant, right place, which we're going to get into, it's really not only sustaining your landscaping, your gardens, but make sure that the gardener is cared for as well. So sustainable gardening it embraces the climate, the resources. It also has minimal inputs, which is really important for organic, sustainable gardening. And then simplicity, which excites all us gardeners. And even if you're not a gardener, beautiful landscapes, beautiful gardens excite everybody. So next we'll talk about, so just one thing you could do, even if you're not a gardener, one thing you could do, well, maybe not now because we're getting into fall, but next year just plant a plant. Plant a plant for the bees, for the butterflies, all that, because remember, no bees, no food. So a sustainable practice is just put one thing in. Even if it's just a container garden, you are contributing to the sustainability. And then water harvesting. So water is so important, and we're going to get into right plant, right place, but I really wanted to touch on some of these things because water is so important. I have many friends in states like California that they have no water. So we in Michigan, I think sometimes we're a little bit spoiled, but remember, when we get into the right plant, right place, if you do that, you don't have to do all that watering. So there's different ways to capture water runoff. I know for me, I have no more hard surfaces at my home. I live in Royal Oak. I have all permeable surfaces, which allows the water to go down, which is a very great way for sustainable landscaping. Okay, and the next, so I just wanted to show you a couple pictures about irrigation, keeping water in the soil instead of overhead as a sustainable practice. And then also, if you have your downspouts, putting some catch basins in there to clean the debris out from the gutters coming down is also a great way to keep that water flowing. And then next, so even if you just walk your property, you might be able to find different opportunities where you can redirect that water, a very sustainable practice, to have the water, instead of going down those storm drains, which we don't want, we want it to stay onto the surfaces and flow down into the earth. You could reroute just inexpensively some of that rainwater. So check your gutters out. Take a walk around and see where you might be able to put that water right back into your gardens. And I know I'm talking fast, I apologize. But we're just going to talk a little bit now about designing your gardens, because really sustainability starts at the design process and with right plant, right place. So I am a huge advocate for having a plan in place before you head out to the garden center to buy plants. So just some of our basic design principles. These are things that you could consider when you start thinking about your design practice. Plant in odd numbers, winter interest. Don't forget to include winter interest. We in Michigan, we'd like to see big things all season long, so be sure to plan for that. A welcoming entrance is really important, and I'm going to show you a picture of how we might want to, when a right plant isn't in the right place, how that could affect an entrance. And then don't forget inside looking out when you're designing, low maintenance and sustainability. I always say I've never had a client ask me for a high maintenance garden. So you always want to think low maintenance, because we want our gardens to be our love and not our labor of love. And then color, texture, interest, all that. When you're in the design process and you're looking for right plant, right place, be sure to keep these things in mind. And then mass plantings. Just planting things instead of onesies all over in mass planting is just so lovely. So instead of buying one hydrangea, buy 3 or buy 5, because they're really beautiful when you put them all together. And then we're going to talk about right plant, right place now. Okay, so this is just a little diagram just to show you how mass planting will look when you put things together. As I said earlier, it just makes for bigger impact in the landscapes and the gardens. And then this is just another design just to show you. I want you to take notice of those curvy bed lines, because in the past we may have just lined everything up in straight lines, which is not a bad thing, but we love doing curvy bed lines when we're designing. And then this is an example of a curvy bed line that's too curvy. So imagine if you had to mow that. So while we like big curvy bed lines, we want it to be practical for the gardener, for who's ever doing the lawn, because we want to keep them sustainable so they keep mowing the lawn. Okay, so then next we have, right plant, right place, and I just wanted to show you a couple pictures because these aren't sustainable practices. So whenever you're putting something in a location where you have to spend the summer shearing it down, hedging it, cutting it because it's too big is not a sustainable practice, because for one thing, we're creating waste, and our goal in the landscape is not to create waste, not to waste a gardener's time. So you always want to make sure that you're giving plants enough room. Read those plant labels. If it says it's going to get 10 feet tall, it's going to get 10 feet tall. And if you're an organic gardener like we are, it's going to get 12 feet tall. So you can see here where someone put a lovely little tree right up against the house. Or over here is a pine, and it's just in the wrong place. So right plant, right place is always important. And then, so this is an entrance. This is just kind of an example of the wrong plant in the wrong place. So you have to spend your summer shearing these down so someone could see where your entrance is. And we never want our guests to wonder, oh, where's the door? So we want to make sure that we're putting the right plant in the right place. And then here's just some more. I said take that tape measure out, measure when you're planting, when you're setting your plants out. Be sure that you're giving those plants enough room at their maximum. Really important, right plant, right place for sustainability. Here's another, I think that's a hemlock over there, I'm not sure, but again, too close to the porch. And over here, we call it like a stuffed sausage. It's coming right out of the fence. So we don't want to do that. Give yourself room to plant correctly. And then, so I know we live in Michigan, but for me, if I have to wrap burlap and look at that for 6 months, you might want to consider putting something else there, because we don't consider burlap winter interest, okay? So I just had to throw these pictures in because these are some of my favorite small landscape plants, and I don't have a lot of time to go over all of them with you, but I'll just tell you, up in the corner there's that drift rose. If you haven't put in a drift rose, you might want to consider. They're absolutely gorgeous. Over here we have the hydrangea, biggest bang for your buck. This is the limelight hydrangea. It's absolutely gorgeous. Down in the center, I also write for Michigan Gardening, and they said, Jan, what are your 10 favorite plants? Well, I will tell you, hands down, one of my top favorite plants is that spilled wine wagelia. It is perfect for a landscape. It's a small shrub. You're never going to have to hedge it or prune it. If you put it in the right place, you'll enjoy it for years to come. And down here is a vanilla strawberry hydrangea. Is that just fabulous? If you don't have one, put it on your list. Okay, so just real quickly, we're going to go over which plant would you select. So this is a test. So would you select plant on the left or on the right? On the right. Yeah, on the right? You're right? Oh, no. Oh, wait, I'm confused. Yes, you're right. Correct. You all get an A. Because when we're shopping for plants, we like, oh, look at this big, beautiful bloom. Not so much. You want that plant that's nice and full. Plants are expensive. So we'll go to the next slide, and I'll show you. So this is too big. If the roots are coming out the bottom, it's not a good plant. So that's not a right plant for the right place. So then next we go, we don't want too big roots. And then next, we don't want too small. So if you've ever pulled a plant out of the container, it was left with half the soil, you just bought half a container of soil. So you don't want that either. And then lastly, this is just right. So when you're picking your plants out, make sure that you have these really beautiful, fibrous roots. Okay, how are we doing on time? Good? Okay, so this is overgrown versus lush. So now a lot of times people think, oh goodness, my gardens are overgrown. But I want you to consider the difference between overgrown and lush, because no, when things are overgrown, that is really a wonderful sustainable, when they're lush, that's a wonderful sustainable practice. Because when things are lush, you're not putting mulch down every year, you're not weeding. So let your gardens get lush. They're supposed to be. Now overgrown's different. If they're impeding on one another, and maybe, you know, we saw like half a plant because plants can't grow into houses and things like that, then that's overgrown. But lush like this is lovely. So I have a couple more pictures to show you. Lush, beautiful. You won't be doing all that weeding. And I have so many little secrets, but we don't have time tonight. But anyway, there's more lush. So lush, really, we want to do lush. We want lush. Whew. Okay, so we're going to spring forward just a little bit, and we're going to fall backward. And I wanted to show you some things. So leave the leaves. It's a must. So who leaves the leaves in their garden beds? Okay, so like a quarter of the room gets an A. The rest of us, we're going to consider leaving the leaves right now. And if you go to the next slide, I'll show you why. Here's why we want to leave the leaves. Now, I'm not going to read over all of them with you, but trust me, it's good to leave those leaves, especially when we have those really cold winters. They really help to protect your plant roots, but they have so many other great reasons to leave those leaves. Give yourself a break. Nothing's going to happen. Nobody's blowing leaves in the forest. Leave the leaves in your garden beds. It's the best thing that you can do. Also for the wildlife as well, because when we talk about sustainability, it's not just the gardens, it's not just the gardener, but it's also wildlife, our whole ecosystem. Okay, next. Okay, so obsessive weeding disorder. I wish, because we all have it, at some point you may not realize it, but you will have it. Once you do it, you're addicted. So we'll go to the next one, because I have so many good things about weeds, but I can't share them tonight. But here are some of the things. So Cornell University came out with seven ways to control weeds with plants. So we're going to quickly go through these 7 plants that you might want to consider putting in your gardens to help with weed control. Now, just a disclaimer. When it says ground cover, it's going to cover the ground. Okay, so don't be alarmed. It's supposed to. Okay, so here's just some things that you can put in your garden. Less watering, less weeds, you're not mulching, so everything's good. So we'll just go through them. Here's some. Ladies' mantle, these are all ground covers. I also like Pachysandra. All those things. Don't be afraid to put ground covers in. Okay, so there we go. All those great plants, don't be afraid to put them in your landscapes. Okay, so we're just going to talk a little bit about pruning, but remember, if we apply the right plant, right place concept, you don't have to do this. But sometimes we do have to take the pruner out, and I'll show you some ways that we're going to do that. So, but if you have a friend like Bambi and all of them, you don't necessarily have to do that pruning, but let's say you don't. So why do we prune? So really, you should, if you're pruning to control size, you have to rethink, oh my gosh, did I put the wrong plant in the wrong place? Maybe I need to replace it with something. I'm not doing that. But sometimes when we are pruning, we're pruning for these reasons. You always want to prune off diseased, weak, dead. If things are crossing over, you want to prune those off. Remember, we want things to grow this way. So that should be really the only reasons. If you're doing your homework first and you're putting the right plant in the right place, you don't have to do all this work. Okay, so I talked about crossing over and thin out rather than cut back, because what we see so often is that people are cutting off the top. That's not where you want the cutting. It's all about the base. And we all know that song. It's all about the base. So get on a bucket, sit down, and prune out the base of that plant. And winter is a great time to prune because the leaves are gone. You can really see plant structures. So get down at the base. If you have to keep doing this, you might want to consider putting in a plant that you don't have to do that. Oh, and suckers and shoots, prune them. Prune them all the time. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. Just prune them off. They're unsightly. So here's just on the right, your right, no, my right, well, this one on that side. You'll see that's a shrub. And then really, if you're doing the pruning, notice the difference where we're pruning at the base. We're thinning out down there instead of on top. Okay, so if you're going to do any tree pruning, the 3-cut method is wonderful. Consider the 3-cut method, because when you're cutting a limb like this, you don't want it to rip down, so the 3-cut method works beautifully. So I had to take a picture of this because this is a for Cynthia in spring. And if you'll notice, this hasn't been shaped into like a football or a softball or anything like that. It's just really, and they're so beautiful when you leave things natural. Isn't it just lovely? I mean, it just tickled me because the rest of the season it really doesn't look like much, but with those beautiful yellow flowers on it, it's gorgeous. Okay, so we're just going to go quickly through some organic remedies because remember, when we're doing organic gardening, it's sustainable. We're not using any pesticides, herbicides, anything like that, so you want to go green. So here's just some fun ones where we're not destroying the environment. We're not going to be able to read through them all, but you can just glance on them. If there's anything you want to know afterwards, I'm happy to share the information with you. But this is all organic measures, which is sustainable. Yeah, moles, and then there's just slugs and Japanese beetles and all that. But really, if you have Japanese beetles, I always tell people, get one of those traps and put it in a neighbor's backyard because they'll all go there. Yeah, only if you really, never mind. Here's just some more organic measures for aphids, so things that you can do. And for roses, instead of, oh, I have a quick story. Can I tell a quick story? So in Mont Clemens, they had that beautiful Mont Clemens rose. Does anybody remember Mont Clemens and the beautiful roses? And for years they grew roses and blah, blah, blah. Then they took away the roses. Well, do you know that people have been treating that soil for those roses for years with pesticides and fertilizer? Do you know that property is deemed uninhabitable? The builder can't even build on that property because the soil is so decayed. So folks, we don't need these things. We really don't. You can go organic successfully. Okay, and then there's just, if you're planting roses, put in your banana peels. It's a great thing. There's no waste, sustainable practices. We want to keep things out of the landfills. And then for the deer and rabbits, just some good old ivory soap. And you know, my thing is, okay, so they eat it, they're hungry too. I plant strawberries. I've never had a strawberry, everybody else eats them. I go to the farmer's market. I support the farmer. I support the wildlife. We all eat strawberries. It's a good thing. Okay, and then this is just for next year for your tomatoes. Just use those eggshells and those coffee grounds. Perfect organic way to do it. Okay, and then if you are a composter, any composters in the audience? Oh, good. Well, now you can clip your toenails and your fingernails right over that compost bin. Toilet paper rolls, if you're not composting, you may want to consider it because you can put all this stuff in your compost pile. Okay, so what's hot for 2017? So for next year, here's some things that are really hot. Water conservation, we already talked about that. I actually had a slide with statistics on how much water we use in the landscape, which just is very disturbing, how much water we waste in the landscape. Are we getting close to time? 5 minutes? Okay, good. So also in the landscape, so anytime you're doing, like if you're planting something with a really dark leaf and then something with a lime color or dark and pink, it's very beautiful in the garden. Doesn't always have to be a flower. Low risk, high value plants, what we mean by that is investing in plants that are going to come back every year instead of annuals that you put in, you rip out. We take care of the gardens of a very beautiful golf course. No sooner were we planting 500 flats that we're ripping 500 flats out, not to mention all the water that it took to keep them alive. So really maybe consider doing more high-value plants and instead of the low-risk plants. Smaller water features, we want to bring the birds and bees back to the gardens, but sometimes ponds, as we get older in the second half of life, they're hard to maintain. So a fountain, just a pump in it that you plug in serves that purpose. Heavy metals, so bring different elements into your garden. I'm going to show you a couple pictures of things that you can recycle, ideas to recycle. So look around, bring different elements into your garden, into your landscape. And then more front gardens, so we're taking a lot of lawns out, putting gardens in. Vertical and container gardening, as we're getting older, it's harder to bend down. So you can still be out there, just grow up. And then bring the birds, bees, butterflies, all that stuff back to your gardens because that's sustainability. Okay, so we're just going to quickly go through here. Here's just some things you can look around your house. And so here's the thing. If you can put holes in it, and if it holds soil, you can plant in it. So here's just a cute little autumn display. And then we have just more. Oh, that old lampshade, put it on your pumpkin's head this year. You could paint, so there's all kinds of fun things. And we'll go through some more. Just ways to recycle stuff. Keep it out of the landfills. If you walk around, you might go, oh, that would be cute in my garden. I love this. So even if you can't grow veggies, you can now. Put them in a wheelbarrow, and you can just roll them right out to the sun. If you don't have sun, no longer do you have to worry. You could just find some sun on your lot. Here's an old barbecue pit. You know what? You don't even have to bend down for that one. Just grow right out of it. That's an old filing cabinet that was just turned over, makes a really great raised garden bed. And over here is just an old fountain. They put a glass top on it. So recycle is part of sustainability when we keep things out of the landfills. Okay, so I'm almost done. So if you like, when you want to follow us, so Two Women in a Hoe, we have about 362,000 fans on our Facebook page. So if you're a gardener and you want to follow us, we'd love for you to join us. We're on all the other ones. My book just came out, Late Bloomer. It's available on Amazon. And with that, may all your gardens grow. Thank you so much.
Good evening. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. Very, very informative and extremely entertaining. So thank you, Jan, for that. I'm Carol Posby, and I'm a co-chair of the Farmington Hills Beautification Commission. Thank you very, very much for joining us this evening as we acknowledge and honor businesses and neighborhoods that contribute to making Farmington Hills a city of beauty and distinction. To avoid a long line later, after you've been awarded, given recognition, you can go to the table on the side and pick up your certificate and the card that can be turned in and exchanged for your entrance marker. And please, you can do that anytime after you've been recognized. Also, please hold your applause until the end of each category. Now, I am very pleased to take you on a tour that highlights some very impressive sites within our city. Our first category recognizes the outstanding efforts of businesses. The Botsford Commons Senior Center, located on Orchard Lake at 9 Mile and Folsom Roads, presents several islands of low bushes, ornamental trees, and pink flowering annuals. Several of the islands were redesigned with new plantings this year that enhance the gazebo in the center. The entrance marker is behind low bushes, bright red annuals, hostas, and has carriage lights on the brick wall. Located on 10 Mile Road near Orchard Lake, Cafe Cortina has created an appealing nature environment that transports the patron into a tranquil setting. The front yard has a variety of trees, bushes, and flowers, both perennials and annuals, which add different heights and textures. The stonework throughout the area is well integrated as part of the overall landscape design. The stone walk area continues in the front, where there is a stone wall surrounded by a garden bed, and there's even a vegetable garden in the back of the restaurant. At Earhart BMW, ornamental grasses and shrubs provide a backdrop for the white begonias at the front entrance and sides of the dealership located on Grand River. Everything is very well maintained and provides a beautiful splash of color, including a large area of black-eye Susans in front of large boulders and a wooden fence. Easy Storage is an example of using a variety of low, well-maintained bushes and bright splashes of color to provide a lovely site to both their clients and to the environment along Orchard Lake, south of 13 Mile Road. You can see from the plaque that Easy Storage was also recognized for their outstanding efforts last year, and we're glad to see that they are proudly displaying their plaque. Fabian, Sklar, and King, PC, on the corner of 12 Mile and Farmington Road, offers a very pleasing look with well-maintained shrubs and a bright splash of summer color provided by the pink, white, and red annuals. Beautiful trees and meticulously trimmed shrubbery provide a backdrop for the center island of begonias, hostas, butterfly plants, and crabapple trees. Halstead Place at 13 Mile and Halstead Road has entrance signs and a lovely mix of trees, bushes, and hostas, along with annual and perennial flowers at both entrances. Pink and red begonias cheerfully greet visitors walking from the parking lot to the main entrance. The Land Rover dealership has a very neat and well-maintained landscape with natural grasses and low bushes and bright pink begonia borders highlighting the sign at the front entrance on Grand River west of Halstead. A border of daylilies with boulders, natural mulch, and a rustic wooden fence complement the overall pleasing look of this entrance. Mao Industries, located on Haggerty Road between 9 and 10 Mile, is very pleased that their landscaping renovation project they undertook a few years ago has matured into a delightful vista for employees and guests. Designed to enhance each season, spring brings magnolias and pear blossoms and the beautiful pink, white, and purple flowering crab, irises, and lilacs. Roses and salvia at the front entrance greet visitors during the summer, and the fall brings the bright foliage of the many different trees that are on the property. Located on Northwestern Highway near Middlebelt, the Pines Office Condominium has a very natural landscape effect that blends together a wide range of plants and foliage into a beautiful environment. Hostas, black-eyed Susans, along with Japanese maples and burning bushes, provide a very lovely environment. Robert Bosch, LLC, continues its commitment to implementing landscaping projects focused on improving the beauty and environmental sustainability of their facility on Hills Tech Drive. Highlights include installation and maintenance of a stylized prairie with native plants to reduce mowing and the use of lawn chemicals, and ultimately reducing their CO2 footprint. And even with all of these environmental efforts, Bosch also continues to provide a lovely entrance to the main building that has an incredible volume of bright red begonias in large containment beds. What a bright, inviting, and summer-like entrance is provided and well-maintained by Seller Buick GMC on Grand River near 10 Mile Road. Ornamental grasses are set off by red, pink, and white begonias in the planting bed around the dealership sign. These plantings are continued in the large bed along the front of the building that is also lined by boulders. There also are beds of large rose bushes and hostas, all providing a very special look to this dealership. We are also awarding this evening a letter of commendation to Superior Family Dental. Let's congratulate the wonderful efforts of these Farmington Hills beautiful businesses. The Environmental Sensitivity Award is not an award that we give out automatically every year. It is, however, awarded when we see an outstanding example demonstrating consistent efforts to improve and benefit the environment. I would now like to introduce Commissioner Jeff Stewart, who will present the special Beautification Commissioner Environmental Award.
Evening. So each year, the commission reviews the nominations, and sometimes a nominee will stand out for their environmental efforts. This year, the commission has selected as outstanding business to receive the Commissioner's Environmental Award, the Robert Bosch LLC group. We've already seen their exceptional use of annuals, perennials, grasses. They've got some water features. But did you know that last year they added zero mass to any landfills through their recycling efforts? Their cafeteria on site is 100% compostable, forks, plates, all of that. They have on-site recycle containers for paper, plastic, glass, wood, metal, batteries. They encourage their employees to bring in batteries from home, and they'll recycle them. It's a 40-acre site that, as I understand it, at one time was 8 acres of lawn or finished turf, if you will. They converted 5 of those to a prairie, and that resulted in 1 metric ton of CO2 reductions each year through lack of mowing and all the rest of it. So pretty special. Bosch has several arrays of solar panels, which result in a decent offset to their electrical cost. These things are no accident. The Robert Bosch Group of companies has a corporate philosophy of conservation and environmentalism that I believe makes them one of the city's best corporate citizens, if not the best. Please join me in welcoming Jerry Smith, Vice President of Technical and Engineering Services at Robert Bosch, to the stage at this time to receive his awards.
Just a reminder, after you've been recognized in the presentation, please feel free to go over to the side table and you will get your certificate and the card that you need to get your plaque. I say that again, I repeat it only because we often at the end of the award ceremony have a large group of people up there, so just trying to help it move along for you at the end of our lovely evening. Now, I have the pleasure of acknowledging the outstanding aesthetic accomplishments of office complexes. Arboretum Office Building has a large stone sign at the entrance to the building on 12 Mile Road, east of Drake, that is surrounded by bright purple impatiens and red begonias. Islands around the building have daylilies, hostas, and rose bushes. There is also a courtyard with planters that are maintained by the building staff. Brookfield Office Park, Buildings 1 and 2, at Northwestern Highway and Middle Belt, provides a very inviting entrance to the complex with ornamental trees and boulders as a backdrop for very colorful seasonal begonias, all providing dimension to the landscape. Begonias and black-eyed Susans extend beyond the entrance to areas along the sidewalk and really pop against the lush green grass and spruce trees. The park-like setting carries over to Brookfield Office Building 3, also located on Northwestern and Middle Belt. The entrance marker and entrance roads are lined with beds of bright pink begonias with an attractive border of boulders, with many, many large trees throughout the complex. Farmington Hills Corporate Center 1 and 2 at Haggerty and 8 Mile Roads has chosen annual plants of hostas, ornamental grass, purple elephant ears, daylilies, and ivy, enhanced with bright red begonias to provide a lovely entrance to this complex. Friedman Corporate Office on 12 Mile Road east of Drake has several well-maintained islands throughout the complex that have trees, low bushes, and pink and white begonias. Those begonias, along with flowering rose bushes, hostas, and daylilies, provide a lovely entrance for visitors to this office complex. North Valley 1 and 2 at Northwestern and 13 Mile Road is another beautifully maintained office entryway. Hostas, black-eyed Susans, ivy, and majestic evergreens, along with large groupings of pink and white begonias, provide a very neat and inviting look for this complex. Boulders have been used as part of the overall landscape design. Nottingham Associates on Northwestern, south of 14 Mile Road, shows off a very neat and inviting office complex with trim shrubbery and splashes of red and pink begonias and daylilies. Purple elephant ear plants give added eye appeal. Trott Financial Building. They use a unique range of flowering plants, ornamental trees, shrubs, and boulders to create a park-like feel to the office complex right in the heart of our city at Northwestern Highway and Middle Belt. The annual flowers include black-eyed Susans, daylilies, and hostas with bright splashes of pink begonias with a very impressive flagstone border, all providing a breathtaking view as people enter the building. Let's please acknowledge these outstanding office buildings. Next, we have two shopping centers that provide very pleasing landscape designs. The Courtyard Shopping Center has a garden of trimmed bushes, daylilies, and annual flowers around the sign at the entrance on Northwestern Highway. Flowering trees, low bushes, and even more daylilies provide soft color against the gray brick buildings along the walkway. Located on Orchard Lake, south of 14 Mile, Hunter Square Shopping Center is a very impressive example of landscaping and maintenance that enhances the overall look and appeal of a property. Large islands of bright, colorful annuals, rose bushes, and low shrubs are at each entrance and located throughout the very large parking area. And what an inviting main entrance road, lined with numerous beautiful trees. Throughout the complex, at the store entrances, there are large containers with a variety of flowers and greenery. All aspects of this shopping center are beautifully maintained. What a great job has been done by the shopping centers. I would now like to introduce Annette Campo of the Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce for a presentation of the Special Chamber of Commerce Award.
Thank you so much. You know, as I sit here and I listen to all of the different flowers and colors and vibrant words, adjectives that everybody's using, I get so excited because I have 2 children. I'm actually a resident here in Farmington Hills, and I've been in real estate for about 28 years. And so when Mayor Massey mentioned higher sales volume, I was very excited about that. So with that being said, as the part of the executive board of Farmington Chamber, it is our pleasure to award the Easy Storage, our award from the Greater Farmington Chamber of Commerce. They've been a member with us for quite a while and very active within the chamber with activities. And once again, you know, being not only a resident in the area, but also having children walking the sidewalks and streets, I have a beautiful 5-year-old daughter, and so we went over there to see this place this summer, and she said, "Mama, this is what I want my yard to look like." Unfortunately, I'm not as talented in that department as I am others. So is Mr. Bauman here to accept the award for Easy Storage?
Definitely honored.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Honored to be here. Honored to be a part of such a great community. I grew up in Farmington Hills, went to Farmington High School, and it's great to be building projects here in the city. My partner Steve Nolan and I are really excited. We bought the building, 2 buildings over the old U.S. Tool and Cutter property, and so we've gotten approval from City Council to build a second building, mixed-use building there. So we'll be working with our neighbor ABC Warehouse, and we're going to be doing a combination. We'll be doing combined landscaping with all 3 properties, and we're going to be doing matching signage too. So it's really going to be kind of an interesting project. So again, excited to be here, and thank you so much.
Thank you again. Congratulations. Thank you. Now, let us take a tour of outstanding subdivision entrances. We have a lovely eye-catching entrance at the Applebrook subdivision on Halsted, north of 8 Mile Road. Neatly trimmed bushes with hostas and purple petunias stand out against the neatly manicured boxwood hedge and flowering bush hydrangeas on 2 islands, and also surround the gray stone entrance signs at both entrances. Barrington Green on 12 Mile and Drake Road has used a range of beautiful perennials in several entrance islands. The plantings include coneflowers, Russian sage, spirea, gaillardia, rudbeckia, burning bush, and neatly trimmed yews and ornamental grass. And just look at those beautiful pink begonias. An eye-catching entrance is displayed by Colony Park West on Drake between 12 and 13 Mile Roads. The gray stone and brick entrance sign has large, well-maintained natural grass on the sides and has a lovely assortment of annuals, perennials, and shrubs welcoming people to the neighborhood. It is even more impressive because all of the design and work is done by residents of the neighborhood. This impressive boulevard entrance to Copper Creek on 12 Mile Road west of Halsted has a stone entrance marker that is set off with bountiful, bright pink begonias, and plantings of daylilies and shrubs continue down the boulevard. Side entrances have large islands of black-eyed Susans and rose bushes, all beautifully maintained. This lovely entrance at Copperwood East on Halsted south of 13 Mile Road features a large pond located behind the gray stone entrance marker. A range of colorful flowers, including yellow daisies, red and white begonias, and New Guinea impatiens that are framed by low, well-maintained bushes, make this a very pleasant-looking environment. The sides of the entrance road have large hostas, shrubbery, and even more pink and white begonias. Dunbar Oaks has effectively utilized natural plantings of ornamental grass and flowering bushes along with multicolored begonias to provide a very eye-catching display for their entrance on 12 Mile Road west of Drake. The sides of the boulevard entrance have large groupings of ornamental grass, snowballs, and black-eyed Susans. Farmington Brook, located on Haggerty, north of 12 Mile Road, has a lovely center island with ornamental trees, meticulously trimmed bushes, hydrangeas, ornamental grass, and black-eyed Susans, along with bountiful red begonias. Particularly unique is the entrance marker. It's a very large boulder with the name of the subdivision etched right into the boulder. What a bright splash of color is displayed at the entrance to the Farmington Ridge, Glens, and Groves on 13 Mile Road between Halsted and Haggerty Roads. The center boulevard island has low, manicured trees and ornamental grass, along with an array of flowers, including red, pink, and white begonias and zinnias that brighten both sides of the entrance. The Farmington Square subdivision at Halsted, north of 9 Mile Road, maintains two entrances with rose bushes, rudbeckias, hydrangeas, and black-eyed Susans, providing colorful blooms throughout the summer. Also, zebra grass, hostas, boxwood, coral bells, and autumn joy provide a natural and very pleasing landscape. Halsted Hills on Halsted Road north of 12 Mile has an impressive natural stone marker that is behind a bed of low and flowering bushes and bordered by pink, white, and red begonias. The circular bed on one side of the entrance has large boulders, creeping juniper, spirea, hostas, ornamental grasses, and very large white blooms on hydrangea bushes. The other side is accented by a flowering crabapple tree. The entrance to Hickory Oaks on Inkster Road between 12 Mile and Northwestern Highway has a long boulevard entrance into the subdivision, featuring white hydrangeas, white impatiens, and low bushes in a lovely tiered effect. And this boulevard is lined with an impressive variety of ornamental grasses. Holly Hill Farms has established an entrance design that utilizes black-eyed Susans and marigolds to set off the lovely green entrance sign. Mature shrubs and ornamental grasses add additional color and appeal to the entrance. It's impressive that they were able to maintain such a lovely entrance during the construction projects on 13 Mile Road and Middle Belt this summer. Residents of Holly Hill Farms maintain and clean up 1/3 of a mile along Middle Belt south of 13 Mile when their community participates in the Farmington Hills Spring Litter Walk event every year. Hunt Club on 11 Mile Road east of Halsted features two islands at the entrance to their neighborhood. The front island has a large stone entrance marker with many large hostas and a border of ornamental grasses. The second island has a large grouping of sunflowers, natural grasses, and red begonias. In addition, this year the community changed the entrance lighting to energy-efficient LED lights, resulting in a 75% energy reduction. Kings Point Rolling Oaks has a range of flowers in front of their subdivision marker on 13 Mile near Drake. There are very well-maintained boxwood bushes in front of the marker, which really shows off the bountiful black-eyed Susans, pink and white daisies, and flowering bushes. Russian sage and pink and white begonias also complement the area, all providing beautiful color and a very, very pleasing look. Old Franklin Town has used snowballs, black-eyed Susans, and rose bushes under an ornamental tree to set off the entrance marker on Middle Belt north of Northwestern Highway. For added dimension, there are also boulders in the center island and a variety of large hostas and trees that also enhance the entranceway. There's even a working water wheel in the pond adjacent to the entrance, providing a lovely rustic look to the entire area. The Strathmore subdivision has certainly put their creativity to work in creating a unique design for their landscape. The highlight is the big red S done in bright red begonias and outlined with white begonias and hostas, which is at the corner of 13 Mile and Haggerty. The entrance at Glenbrook has been redone to add spiral shrubs and rocks to provide an inviting entrance. An impressive boulder bed with majestic trees is at a secondary entrance off 13 Mile Road. Strathmore is also a volunteer effort, including the unique design along with the planting and maintenance. What a lovely display of bright flowers and manicured shrubs is shown at the entrance to the Trillium subdivision on Drake, south of 12 Mile Road. Concrete urns with red and white begonias, New Guinea impatiens, and sweet potato vines grace the two islands in the center of the boulevard entrance. A pond with a fountain is on the north side of the entrance. Boxwood shrubs are trimmed to establish a tiered effect that provides a distinctive border to large white hydrangeas. Added color is provided by the pink begonias and impatiens. It is all eye-catching and very, very eye-pleasing. Whispering Woods on Halstead, north of 12 Mile Road, has a large stone entrance marker with carriage lights on the side pillars. The bed in front of the marker has lovely flowers, and the island behind has a border of neatly manicured boxwoods. Woodland Trails on 13 Mile between Halstead and Drake Roads has very effectively used pink, red, and white begonias as a border for ornamental grasses and well-trimmed yews on one side of the entrance. The other side has coral bells and oak leaf hydrangeas, all very neatly trimmed and very well maintained. Also, we are pleased to provide a letter of commendation to Foxmore and the Kimberly subdivision. A big round of applause for these beautiful locations. Each year, the Beautification Commission selects one nominee that we feel exemplifies a real commitment to enhancing the environment and the beauty of our city. And we acknowledge this outstanding effort with the Beautification Commissioner's Award. Commissioner Betty Poole will now make this award.
Thank you. Good evening. It's nice to see so many familiar faces again. It's like we have a fall gathering. So, okay, on behalf of the Farmington Hills Beautification Commissioners, I would like to present our Commissioner's Award to St. Fabian Catholic Church. They have a breathtaking landscape, and that's how it was written on the judging form, so it's got to be true. It is maintained by approximately 20 volunteers. They're mostly parishioners, and parishioners do have some friends that come with them, and there's also a pastor that helps garden. Each volunteer has a section that they're allotted, and they take care of that section all season, and they generally come once a week to do it. There is a group of teens that work in the gardens twice a year to help with the weeding for their community service. It's filled with a variety of perennials and colorful annuals and shrubs and grasses and some beautiful trees. It is beautiful. It's breathtaking. Accepting the award, we have 3 of the volunteers here to accept it. Ladies, the 3 volunteers, either one or all of you, it doesn't really matter. Somebody has to come and get it. Fellow gardeners, thank you so much. This is yours.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming. We worked very hard. Okay.
The next category that we will be taking a tour of renovations and environmental sensitivity. Located on 8 Mile Road near Gill Road, the Finnish Club Association has been recognized for their outstanding efforts for many, many years. The beautiful, expansive grounds of the Finnish Center are all volunteer maintained. The grounds are continually enhanced with new features and offers the opportunity to see a very wide variety of plantings native to Michigan in a see, feel, and touch environment. Throughout the site, there are areas with hydrangeas, tubs of bright annuals, and wildflowers that attract butterflies. The center has the distinction of being certified by the National Wildlife Federation as an urban wildlife habitat and a monarch butterfly way station. There is always something to see and enjoy all year long, and it is open to visitors from dawn until dusk. Hunters Point, on 13 Mile between Halsted and Drake Roads, performed a renovation of their subdivision entrance this year. The results are stunning. Expansive hostas, purple flowers, and bright pink begonias in front of the brick entrance sign. There is also a bed of black-eyed Susans, and decorative stones complete the look. Located on Gill and Colfax, Power Upper Elementary School provides a hands-on learning experience for their students. Students, teachers, and parents plant and maintain this outdoor classroom for art, science, and language arts teaching. The habitat is planted with native plants such as butterfly weed, milkweed, and cone plants, and is certified by the National Wildlife Federation. The Nature Club has several events throughout the school year to raise funds for the maintenance of the schoolyard habitat and promote awareness in the community. A round of applause for these excellent examples of organizations. In the category of organizations, we are pleased to provide letters of commendation this evening to the Beachview Swim and Tennis Club and the Farmington Players Barn Theater. In the category of places of worship, we are pleased to recognize 2 neighborhood churches. Narden Park United Methodist Church on 11 Mile Road, west of Middlebelt, has created a lovely and tranquil landscape design. The entrance sign is in a triangular bed with well-trimmed bushes and perennials, such as black-eyed Susans, along with a red geranium border. Lovely cone flowers and well-maintained low bushes circle the fountain. You've already heard this evening, but I will mention again, St. Fabian Catholic Church and School. They provide a very appealing view along busy 12 Mile Road west of Orchard Lake. Large red geraniums greet visitors at the door and provide a bright splash of seasonal color. Lots of blooming roses and hydrangeas, along with arborvitae along the side of the church, contribute to that overall appeal. It's a very lovely site and very impressive. As Betty said, it is maintained by the efforts of over 20 volunteers. A letter of commendation is presented also to Orchard United Methodist Church. Congratulations to the churches for their efforts. In the category of apartment entrances, we are pleased to honor Hunter's Ridge, which has rows of lovely trees that provide a backdrop for a very well-maintained bed of red begonias and yellow marigolds, which appear in several islands around the entrance. A letter of commendation is being awarded to Carrington Place Apartments. Applause for the honorees. I would now like to introduce Ken Klemmer to present the Ruth Molman Preservation Award. Ken?
Thank you. I was asked before the presentation started, where is the historic district? Well, it's all around you. Farmington Hills has what's called non-contiguous historic districts. So each piece of property that is historic and recognized by the city is its own district. So today I'd like to recognize the Lawrence Simmons House, which is at 33742 12 Mile Road. It's one of our local gems. It's constructed in 1861 and one of 3 houses that Livonia farmer Joshua Simmons built for his 3 sons. Lawrence Simmons, for whom this house was built, lived here for 12 years. He, like the elder Simmons, was a successful farmer. The handsome Gothic Revival stone structure displays 7 different trim designs. Gothic Revival was at its peak in the 1860s in America, and few of these buildings survive today. They were greatly championed by famed architects who created pattern books of house designs. Andrew Jackson Downing, writer of The Architecture of Country Houses, and George Woodward, who wrote Woodward's Country Homes, were examples of these types of architects. These designs inspired and in turn were built by local craftsmen, and in this case, the house was built by local carpenter Sergius P. Lyon, who is also an undertaker, stove manufacturer, and founder of the Farmington Universalist Church. The house was purchased in the 1920s by R.K. Floyd, who was an executive in the Kendall Oil Company. It was the farmland surrounding the house on which the Kendallwood subdivision was built in the mid-1950s. Most recently, the property was sold to an enthusiastic owner who is undertaking, with the guidance of the Historic District Commission, a comprehensive program of stabilization and preservation of the property, along with sensitive improvements to keep it viable for another 155 years. This year's Ruth Molman Historic Preservation Award goes to Mr. Subaraman Sivakumar of Sivakumar Properties. And I don't believe Mr. Simakuvar is here tonight, so we will get his award to him. Thank you.
Now, we'll be taking a look at, try to make that better. Now we will be taking a look at outstanding condominiums within our community. Chestnut Ridge, located on Halstead Road north of 12 Mile, has a long natural stone wall with copper-top pillars that provide a backdrop for a large display of beautiful pink, red, and white begonias in front of low yews. The sides of the entrance have bushes, ornamental grasses, and hostas with a bed of pink and red New Guinea impatiens. The residents of Chestnut Ridge are especially proud of the white pines, spruces, and fir trees that line both sides of the entrance roads and extend the entire front of the complex along Halstead Road. The beautiful trees maintained at the crosswinds of Farmington Hills provides a natural and almost park-like setting for the residents and people who travel past the complex on 14 Mile Road east of Haggerty. Large boulders accent the entrance marker, along with a variety of large hostas. Pink, white, and fuchsia petunias and daylilies add bright color. Although not shown in the pictures, there are 2 well-maintained retention ponds with fountains that add further distinction to this complex. Essex Club has certainly created an entranceway that complements the natural environment and is an exceptional example of beautiful landscaping at its entrance on Halstead north of 12 Mile Road. The large retention pond with a fountain is surrounded by majestic pine trees, spruces, and fir trees. The large center island has a meticulously trimmed boxwood hedge that provides a distinctive border. There is a wide range of flowering plants, including red and white begonias, blue salvia, red roses, and golf ball-sized blooms of alyssum. As you enter Fairways of Farmington Hills, located on Halstead north of 11 Mile, you are greeted by an island of pale pink and melon-colored impatiens, purple salvia, and trimmed yews in front of the stone and granite entrance marker. The mailbox area has beds of red begonias, daylilies, ornamental grasses, and small crab trees, which also add appeal to the total environment. The lovely entrance at Forest at Orchard Lake, located on Orchard Lake south of 696, features yellow and pink coneflowers with rows of perfectly trimmed boxwood. Blue salvia, yellow flowers, and mixed begonias fill in the bed in front of the brick wall. Along the median, ornamental grasses and large black-eyed Susans complete the look of the landscape. Hampshire House, on 14 Mile west of Orchard Lake, has an inviting entrance with a bed of pink begonias and a white begonia border in front of the entrance sign with blue salvia and a well-maintained border of hostas behind the sign. Daylilies, ornamental grasses, and mughal pines add to the landscape design. At Heatherwood, on Middle Belt north of 12 Mile Road, a combination of perennial plants, low trees, and trimmed boxwood are used to enhance the front of the entrance island. The rear of the island has large blooming hydrangea bushes and bright pink begonias. There are also islands to the sides of the entrance that further extend the lovely look with rose bushes, hostas, large coral bell, and blooming hydrangeas. Meadow Ridge, on Middle Belt between 11 and 12 Mile Roads, has a lovely and environmentally conscious focus to their entrance and grounds. A pleasing combination of New Guinea impatiens, hostas, and black-eyed Susans surround the brick entrance sign. A beautiful pond with fountains is surrounded by many large trees, and the north berm is planted with wildflowers to maintain the natural beauty of the community. Oxford Estates is located on Drake, south of 12 Mile Road, and has a semicircle in front of the Greystone entrance marker with neatly trimmed boxwood, low ground cover, and bright pink begonias. Mature but well-maintained bushes are on each side of the marker, along with a retention pond on the grounds. Ramblewood, on 14 Mile Road, east of Halstead, has used neatly trimmed bushes and borders of pink, white, and red begonias to create an eye-catching center island for their entrance. This is continued to the side islands with ornamental grasses and a border of begonias on one side and a bed of white begonias and purple salvia on the other, all enhancing the lovely trees that frame the entrance. River Pines on 9 Mile Road in Drake has used low green spreading foliage to accent the natural stone marker at the entrance to the complex. Hostas and beds of New Guinea impatiens mix color and greenery on the sides of the entrance roads. Although not shown in the pictures, residents and visitors are greeted by a beautiful waterfall, which I think may be the only such unique feature in our city. Located on Halstead, north of 13 Mile Road, Sierra Point has several islands providing color and curb appeal to their entrance. Beautiful white-leafed hostas and pink begonias provide bright color in front of the well-trimmed bushes, and the hosta daisies and black-eyed Susans bloom all summer long. The residents volunteer their time to maintain this beautiful entrance by splitting and repositioning the perennials and spreading mulch in the spring. The Meadows have utilized beautifully trimmed shrubbery and flowering bushes to surround their entrance marker at 13 Mile and Farmington Road. It is a colorful entrance with New Guinea impatiens, blue salvia, yellow and red canna lilies, white roses, and pink spirea. Beds on both sides with pink begonias, blue salvia, and hydrangeas provide even more color and make this a very inviting entrance. Beautiful pine and coniferous trees provide a lovely backdrop for the Greystone marker at the entrance to Timbercrest on 12 Mile Road, east of Middle Belt. Neatly manicured boxwoods, junipers, creeping yews, and hostas are highlighted with red and white begonias and lovely red and white rosebush shrubs. This is further enhanced with a burst of color from red, white, and blue salvia and purple alyssum. We are also pleased to present letters of commendation to Nantucket, Nova Woods, and the Glens of Copper Creek. A big congratulations to these outstanding condominiums. Well, that concludes our tour of the beautiful landscapes that our businesses and neighborhoods work hard with tremendous effort all year long to provide an enhanced environment to our beautiful city. Thank you.
In closing our program, I would like to give some thanks. A grateful thank you to the Planning and Community Development staff, most especially our city liaison, Charmaine Kettler-Schmolt, and her assistant, Jerry LaBelle. Well, not her assistant, but the department assistant. Also, excuse me. Also to Dave Tietmeyer and his staff at the Special Services and Video Division for helping us with the ceremony, its preparation and presentation. And we especially appreciate all the help from the Costick Center staff, certainly. Steinkopf Nursery for several years has supplied some natural decor for our ceremonies and has done so again. You can see their donation in front of me. Commissioner Betty Poole has again chaired our awards program this year. And by the way, she's the head gardener at the Warner Mansion in Farmington and chair of or president of the Farmington Garden Club. She also, when she has time, writes as a newspaper gardening columnist. Your table centerpieces, designed by Michelle at the Vines Flower and Garden Shop in downtown Farmington, will belong to, is everybody listening? Whose birthday is closest to Arbor Day next April 28th. April 28th. The closest to that date. We hope we see you again next year winning an award. Have a safe trip home and drive carefully.